How was your weekend, my friend? Mine was great. Massive spring cleaning, cleared out an old shed and encountered minimal spider and bug situations while in there, so that was a W for me. Oh, and I got to watch a ton of football. And the Batman, so a sequence of W's this weekend. And I'm excited to get into this video and many other videos this week. In fact, subscribe if you're new around here. 3 to 5 videos minimum per week. And let's get started. The Bundesliga is wrapped, of course, but the race for European hotspots is hot. Hot spots. The champions Bayern Munich rotated a few players against Mainz, but saying that they were a completely rotated squad that ended up losing 3-1 away to Mainz would be completely dishonest. A lot of the heavy hitters were still in there. Bayern just so happened to play poorly, while Bo Svensson's team were absolutely dominant and were unlucky to not have more goals in this match. Rarely do you see Bayern get outshot 22-7 in a single match. On Friday, Union and Greuther played out a 1-1 draw, which will have angered Urs Fischer, the Union manager, as they look to lock down a European place. And considering Greuther are the basement boys with just 18 points from 32 matches, and Union were playing at home, major missed opportunity. But the feel-good story that Sven Michel continue as he was subbed on in the 70th minute and scored the equalizer 2 minutes later, 1-1 the final there. Borussia Dortmund have found themselves 2-0 down at home after just 8 minutes against Bochum, but an Erling Haaland hat-trick catapulted them ahead to 3-2. Incredible. Well, it would have been incredible if the story ended there, but Dortmund are just weirdos, man. Jurgen Locadia equalized in the 81st minute before a penalty 4 minutes later gave Bochum the win at Signal Iduna Park. 4-3 the final, another shocking result for Borussia Dortmund and Marco Rose. Speaking of the hunt for European places, Köln got a big 4-1 victory away to Augsburg as Modeste scored another brace. He's up to 19 on the season already. Stuttgart and Wolfsburg held each other at 1-1 as the heat gets turned up on Stuttgart in the relegation playoff place, while SC Freiburg and Hoffenheim also played out a 7-goal thriller this weekend. 4-3 thriller again. We love Freiburg around here, man. They are a fun club to watch and often underestimated. After 73 minutes, they were 4-2 up away to Hoffenheim, but Rudy's goal a few minutes later made it 4-3 and an exciting end indeed. As we look at the scores and standings, Leverkusen and Leipzig are yet to play against Frankfurt and Gladbach respectively, today actually, which will have massive ramifications for the top 4, as you can see how tight it is at the top, with just 2 or in some cases 3 matches remaining. 4 points separates Union in 7th from Leverkusen in 3rd, and at the bottom of the table, Fürth are officially relegated, while Bielefeld, Stuttgart, and Hertha have an epic battle to see who is playing in the relegation playoff and who is going straight down. Napoli made up for last weekend's embarrassment by absolutely smashing Sassuolo, and they did it at home as well, where they have had major stage fright of late. After just 21 minutes, Napoli were already 4-0 up, and in the second half, they added 2 more to their tally before Sassuolo could even respond. 6-1 the final. I guess the retreat light edition is maybe working in some way for Napoli. Who knows? Hellas Verona beating Cagliari 2-1 would have made the Sardinian club very anxious, as they kept an eye on the result of Genoa versus Sampdoria, as both Genoa and Cagliari are fighting to stay alive here at the tail end of the season. And it would have been all the more scary for Cagliari as they saw Genoa losing 1-0 in the 90th. Then Genoa was awarded a PK in the 94th, but Domenico Crescito had his penalty saved, and Genoa lost 1-0 to Sampdoria. Drama. We'll see the bottom of the table later on, of course. It was a weekend of 4-3 matches, 2 in the Bundesliga, and in Serie A, we had Lazio overcoming Spezia 4-3, with who else but Francesco Acerbi scoring the winning goal, a guy who has been under a lot of scrutiny lately, getting the winner from Maurizio Sarri. Also, Milinkovic-Savic, he got another goal. He's on 10 with an additional 11 assists. Insane season for Milinkovic-Savic. A brace from Leonardo Bonucci was the difference between Allegri's side and Venezia, as the veteran Italian got a goal in each half to continue moving Juve in an upward direction in the table. Juve now have just 1 loss in their last 20 matches. Stunning form from them, as they have caught up to the leading pack, which would have seemed near impossible in the first half of the season. Venezia, on the other hand, big trouble. Empoli and Torino had an incredibly interesting match. The hosts Empoli went ahead in the 56th minute, only to have a player sent off 4 minutes later. Try as they might, Torino couldn't find a breakthrough until Belotti converted a penalty in the 78th minute. About 7 minutes later, a handball from Stojanovic gave away another penalty, which was also his second yellow, man sent off, plus the penalty that Belotti converted for 2-1. Late on, Belotti rounded out his hat trick, this time from open play. 3-1 the final for Torino, as they also continue to rise. Turin club's on the rise. AC Milan versus Fiorentina looked like it was going to be one of those matches for the title hopefuls. You know, I don't know how many times they would get the ball forward quickly, as this Pioli side does incredibly well, only to spurn the opportunity through Leão hitting it over, having a shot blocked, Giroud putting it wide, Brahim passing when he should shoot, rinse and repeat. Over and over again, this would happen, or Terracciano would place the spoiler, but honestly, Milan didn't have the lead thanks to their own finishing. Then with about 12 minutes to go, it looked like Fiorentina would pull off the smash and grab as Cabral was denied from point blank by Mike Mignan. What a stop that was. And vital to Milan going in the other direction and finding a goal eventually. Finally, after many times trying to cut inside and strike, Rafael Leão's attempt was successful, but it had a lot of help. Terracciano with a horrible mistake to give the ball away at the back, then guilty of diving in the wrong direction when it should have been a relatively simple save for him. 1-0 Milan, putting pressure on Inter, who kicked off later away to Udinese. Udinese who beat Fiorentina 4-0 recently. But now let's go to editor Adrian to close out Italy for us. Over to you. Inter had a difficult match against Udinese. After taking a 2-0 lead, they were made to stick it out and suffer at times, and while it was uncomfortable, they secured the 2-1 win, meaning AC Milan's lead is still 2 points over Inter with 3 matches remaining. Milan certainly has the more difficult matches coming as they have Hellas Verona, Atalanta and Sassuolo to play, while Inter will face Empoli, Cagliari and Sampdoria. Sevilla's brutal form continued this weekend as they have been laboring for victories in the last few months. Just 2 wins since the start of March in La Liga, as they were again held this weekend at home against Cadiz. The pressure on Lopetegui will continue to increase because this has just not been it. They look like they're going to be the only challenger to Real Madrid to just completely falling off. Again, Unai Emery, speaking of falling off, rested his whole squad in order to prepare for his tie against Liverpool in the Champions League. And again, the results continued to suffer in the league as Villarreal fell 2-1 away to who else but 19th place Deportivo Alaves. With all of the love that we've been giving Emery for his cup results, his league results have been relatively horrid this season, as Villarreal currently sit in the Conference League place, but have Athletic Club not far behind them with 3 matches remaining. The Valencia derby ended 1-1 as Levante rescued a point thanks to an 81st minute Oscar Duarte equalizer. Rough match for Valencia as they had to play the final hour of the game a man down as Gaia was sent off at the 31st minute. Early boy. Speaking of the aforementioned Athletic Club, they beat their sister club, or distant cousin club, Atletico Madrid 2-0 on Saturday, as Atletico are really just going through the motions at this point, out of the title race, out of the Champions League, now just trying to do their best to get top 4, and results like this will absolutely make that difficult for them considering Real Betis is hot on their heels. Real Betis play today, by the way. Atletico were a bit unlucky to hit the woodwork twice, but they didn't do enough in this one. Real Madrid, of course, were crowned champions on Saturday as they only needed a single point in their final 5 matches, but they went ahead and smashed RCD Espanyol 4-0 despite completely rotating their squad. Rodrigo, Asensio, and Mariano started, and it was a disaster class for Mariano, but Rodrigo got the brace and Asensio grabbed a goal as well. And yes, Benzema came on for the final 30 minutes, and yes, Benzema scored a goal once again. He is untouchable in the Pichichi race. 26 goals to Raul de Tomas's 15. And with the league win, Carlo Ancelotti has now won the league in each of the top 5 leagues of Europe, the first manager to be able to do so. What's interesting about that is that across his entire managerial career, he's only won the league 5 times. Well, only in big quotations, but he has won 5 league titles and won in each of the top 5 leagues. Speaking of top 5, editor Adrian is one of them, and we'll go to him to close out La Liga. A late strike from Radamel Falcao gave Rayo Vallecano a draw against Real Sociedad, while Memphis got a start for Barca, a rare start kind of, and he grabbed a goal alongside Sergio Busquets in Barca's 2-1 win. Back up to second for Barca, 2 points ahead of Sevilla, 5 ahead of Atleti. But again, Real Betis are right on Atleti's heels, ready to pounce on any mistakes. Liverpool and City again prolonged the title race another match day as both sides were victorious in England this weekend. Liverpool had a tough match against a Newcastle United side that is flying high under Eddie Howe, as we highlighted last weekend in the weekend recap actually. With Naby Keita's first half goal, Newcastle were unable to respond, and Liverpool were quite comfortable / probably a little bit unlucky to not have another goal or two in this one. Newcastle's 4-match winning run ended, while Liverpool extended theirs to unbeaten in 15, the longest streak in the league currently. Manchester City eased to a 4-0 win over Leeds United, another team who had been in pretty great form under Jesse Marsch, but with Marsch, you live and die by the sword, as his open attacking style will lead to results such as these against teams that are capable of scoring for fun, as City are. Rodri opened it, Ake doubled it, and Gabriel Jesus made it 3-0 for his 6th goal in 3 matches. Fernandinho, who moved as a right back against Real Madrid this past week, added another and added time for the 4-0 scoreline. More matches needed to decide this title race, but it's all in City's hands at the moment. Aston Villa got an important 2-0 victory over Norwich this weekend to distance themselves from any sort of relegation battle to close out the season. That remains to be seen still, depending on other results, but certainly a massive step towards safety, which is what Gerrard would have been striving for prior to a proper preseason that he'll get in 22-23. The incredibly evenly matched Southampton and Crystal Palace faced off, and Palace got back to their good form after going winless in 3 matches. 1-0 down after 60 minutes, Eze equalized, and with 92 minutes on the clock, Wilfried Zaha gave Palace the win to catapult them up and over Southampton in the standings, 2-1. Speaking of comebacks, Burnley's great escape is still on as things stand, despite being 1-0 down for almost the entirety of the match. Mike Jackson, no, I will not make any jokes surrounding that name, and his magic dust continues to get great results out of this side. Jack Cork equalized in the 83rd. Cork used to play for Southampton, didn't he? Editor Adrian, double check that. But anyway, Brownhill gave Burnley the win over Watford shortly after to make it 3 wins on the trot, 4 undefeated. Strange behavior from Uncle Roy Hodgson to not make a single substitution when they were clearly losing control in the second half. But hey, who am I to question someone like him? After such a bright start, Brighton were guilty of falling off a lot this season. But with another win this weekend, they've improved up the table into the top 10 once again with a massive 3-0 victory over a very much struggling Wolves side. Brighton are continuing to show improvements little by little under Graham Potter season upon season. Wolves, they've lost 4 of their last 5. That's a yikes, a large yikes, as they could yet piss away their European competition for next season. Speaking of a large yikes, that could be how you describe Chelsea closing out the season. I swear, plenty of the Chelsea creators I see tweeting these days just want the season to be over with at this point. I mean, they still have the FA Cup final to compete for, but the rest of it has been a bit of a downer this season, hasn't it? They went away to Goodison Park to take on Frank Lampard. My God, was it ever a stunning performance from Jordan Pickford, especially in that second half for Everton. Some of the last gasp saves he was making were just unbelievable. Some double saves. I mean, the ball would just not go in for Chelsea. And the 1-0 win, thanks to a Richarlison goal right on the other side of the half, was enough for Everton to get the win, to keep them in the fight. What a win against his former side for Frank Lampard. Tottenham are in a different sort of fight as they hosted Leicester and beat them 3-1, which proved as a marker that they put down for Arsenal, of whom they are fighting for top 4 against. Heung-min Son's ridiculous form has continued as he assisted Harry Kane for the opener, then scored a second half brace to take the match to 3-0. But a late strike from Iheanacho gave Leicester a consolation goal, 3-1, the final in the end there, setting the stage for the final match of Sunday. West Ham hosting Arsenal, which editor Adrian will take over for. A Gabriel to Gabriel goal. Martinelli to Magalhães goal, that is. Cancelled out Jared Bowen's equalizer. What a run Bowen is on. His form is just insane. To give Arsenal another important victory, man. Wins over United, Chelsea, and West Ham lately, beating the teams around them now at a regular rate, which puts them 2 points ahead of Tottenham in the race for top 4, which is going to be a nice battle between the North London clubs who actually face each other on the 12th of May. That's going to be a huge match. And that will do it. Shout out to editor Adrian for all of the help today. What a legend. And shout out to you for joining us once again. Plenty of videos coming out this week, and we hope to see you there for all of them. All right, I'm Adrian, and take care of yourself. Ciao.